Welcome back to Community Focus, live from the Friendship State Bank on Madison's Hilltop, where you can rely on friendship. I'm your host, Katie Sparks, and we've been talking with Bob from the Riverfront Run Car Show, and now we're going to learn more about one of Madison's newer businesses, the Mad Paddle Brewery. We have Jerry Wade with us today. Thanks for being on the show, Jerry.
It's great to be here, Katie.
Can you tell us a little bit about your personal story and why you came to Madison for retirement?
I was looking to move back to Indiana from the great state of Minnesota, the cold tundra up near Canada. I was born in Indianapolis, went to high school in Newcastle, went to college at Ball State, and I narrowed it down after a lot of research to Franklin, Indiana, and Madison. And Franklin is closer to Indy, a city that I like a lot. 2 kids went to Butler. Would have preferred to be near Indy, but the downtown of Franklin has already been pretty much developed, so it looks fantastic. So when I came to Madison, incredibly long Main Street, and when I came here about a year and a half ago, there were 13 buildings for sale on Main Street. So there was still opportunity in Madison that I saw to come here and potentially invest. Now, initially, all I was looking to do was buy a very small building in Madison and build a little New York-style loft upstairs. So that was the original vision and purpose of me coming to Madison.
So a brewery was not on the radar for you?
It was not on the radar, but one of the buildings on sale, actually on Realtor.com and Zillow, it was listed as a house. It's the old, you folks call it, or we now call it, the old Henben building on the way out of town to Vivi. It's the Cash for Barley building. It's the old Greiner Madison Brewing Company. So that's a 10,000 square foot brewery building, which has a 3-bedroom apartment on the back. Now, that building was listed for sale as a 3-bedroom house.
Oh,
so there you are looking online for houses in Madison, Indiana. Up pops this building. It says 3-bedroom house, and it comes with 10,000 square feet of, what is this? It's a brewery. So then I did a lot of research, which then led to Mad Paddle Brewery. So that's kind of an interesting story there.
And you did do a lot of research after that, I understand, and found out that before Prohibition, the brewing industry was thriving in Madison. Can you share a little bit about what you uncovered about the brewing history here?
So what I uncovered is that Greiner Cash for Barley Brewery building is the oldest still standing brewery building in the state of Indiana, built in 1852. So me coming to town, doing all this research, when I ask around, nobody knew that sitting on the edge of Madison, Indiana is the oldest still standing brewery building in the state of Indiana, 1852. Then I discovered that Madison was the first brewing city in the state of Indiana, but then further research indicated that it was actually number 3. But you think about the Olympics or in horse racing, win, place, or show, that's still top 3. That's pretty good. So being the number 3 brewing city, 1823 Old Man Jacob Salmon, right on that same site where the Greiner Cash for Barley Brewing building is today. So rich brewing history starting in 1823. Then that led to 1852 with Greiner Brewing. Then that same building became the Madison Brewing Company 30 years later in 1882. So big time brewing. And there were other breweries such as the Union Peter Weber Brewing Company that was downtown, a beautiful building, but that one burnt down. But rich brewing history. On that site where the Greiner building still sits today, there were 80,000 square feet of buildings. So if you come into Mad Paddle Brewery, we have a complete history of brewing in Madison, and we have a picture of not 10,000, not 20,000, but 80,000 square feet of buildings.
That's incredible. So how hard was it to uncover all that information? Where did you find the information?
It's a lot of Googling and a lot of Googling and a lot of Googling with a little bit of assistance locally from I think it's the Historical Society. They were helpful, and most helpful was Camille Fife over at the Jefferson County Library. If you come into Mad Paddle, we have some fantastic high-resolution pictures and some other things we've uncovered, and Camille turned me on to that. But virtually hundreds of hours of research went into this brewing history.
Now, how did that history push you out of retirement and into the craft beer business?
Well, like I said, I was not looking to go into the beer business. I was looking to buy a little building and build a little loft. But as I uncovered this history on that one particular building and then met people in Madison, a lot of them kept saying, "Oh yeah, we've been needing a brewery for a long time," or "A lot of people have talked about doing it," or "There was a brewery down at the trolley barn," et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so then I thought, well, as a retired entrepreneur, There are microbreweries popping up all over the place on top of each other in other cities. Cities like Columbus or Bloomington have, many more than one. But here we are, Madison, Indiana, festival capital of state of Indiana, tourists, etc. Rich brewing history, but there's no microbrewery. So I guess I'm going to come out of retirement and start a microbrewery. And that was also sparked by I was sitting at Crystal and Jules one night, and I was talking about this concept. And the person next to me, her name was Kay Stokes, and she said, "Hey, Jerry, you really need to meet Craig Phillip. He is a chemistry professor at Hanover College, and he's interested in brewing and distilling." And so there were several key relationships here in town. The three key relationships were Jim Pruitt, my realtor, Todd Boone, and Dr. Craig Phillip at Hanover College. And Hanover College, we've now developed a deep relationship with. Right now, we're brewing Panther Pilsner for Hanover College. So it's kind of crazy, but me coming to town as an outsider, I chose to do this thing, which was called Build a Bridge between Hanover, way, way, way on the outside of town, and downtown Madison to start bringing the two things together. And we're doing that with this collaboration effort between Hanover College and Mad Paddle Brewery.
That's really exciting. Can you tell us a little bit more about collaboration? And it sounds like professor and students are involved, or?
Yeah, so last year we had 2 interns. This year we're going to have 2 or 3 interns again. We're working with the alumni department this week. Hanover College alumni chose to have their regional alumni event. It was a spectacular success, full house on Wednesday night. On May 4th, there is the annual Hanover College Alumni Awards. One of the award winners this year is Governor Holcomb, and one of the other award winners is Phil Mullins, who's a local resident here in Madison. So Hanover asked us if we could make our building available for the after party. Now, if you've seen Mad Paddle Brewery, there's only 1,800 square feet of our 12,000 square feet that's currently open today. This is a multiple phase project. But on May 4th, we got a special variance from the state of Indiana. Maybe the fact that Governor Holcomb was in on that award might have helped. But we got a special variance for one day, one night only. We can open up the entire first floor of the building. So the gentleman to my left was talking about, hey, maybe you should bring in the Jimmy Davis Band. Jimmy's already booked that night, but we are right now searching for music for that night because we're going to go from being able to hold 50 people to we'll be able to hold 200 people that night. And we want to rock the house on May 4th at Mad Paddle Brewery.
That's exciting. That's not too far away at all.
It's not.
So it sounds like multiple phases. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like to get Mad Paddle up and running and what those next phases are going to be for you?
So what it was take to get it up and running was everything from the ecstasy and the excitement to what it's like when you go to the dentist and you have anything from a filling to complete oral surgery. So the fillings and the pain of the fillings would be just working with local Madison ordinances, zoning, historical board, that type of thing. The oral surgery is the state of Indiana, working with what's called the Department of Homeland Security, which most people would say, why the heck do you have to work with the Department of Homeland Security? That's because they took over the building departments in the states after 9/11, and they are not easy to work with. They're understaffed, underpaid, and they are not friendly to certain projects. Our project, there's a small group, very small group of people in Madison that are anti-progress and don't want to see any new businesses come to town. So a couple individuals in particular went after Mad Paddle Brewery because they didn't want to see us succeed and started sending things to the Department of Homeland Security. So we ended up getting this extra scrutiny on Mad Paddle, which set our project back about 3 to 4 months last year. The good news is because we proved them wrong and we've been successful and we opened and everything they said we couldn't do, we've done, they've started to fade into the distance a little bit. There's a particular website, I won't give them any credence here today on the phone, but they're shriveling away as we sit here and speak today.
So some of the challenges, of getting it up, not an easy process to get a business going, but we're really excited that you're here and all that you're doing. Can you tell us about what has been, because you opened in December.
Yes. What
has been the most rewarding about this process and what have been some of the challenges along the way, in addition to just getting up and going?
The number one reward is the people. Folks that come into Mad Paddle have just been fantastic. We have what are called beer ambassadors, not servers or bartenders. When we were at Chautauqua last year, we needed 60 volunteers to help us with serving alcohol at Chautauqua. And with those 60 volunteers, we had a number of them say, hey, we really want to see Mad Paddle succeed. What can we do to help? And I said, hey, the service business, the food, the bar business is a tough business. A lot of young people, a lot of turnover, a lot of people on their phones, a lot of people not showing up for work, a lot of people hungover. That sounds like a terrible business. I'm retired. Why would I want to do that? But hey, Katie, you've already got a day job, but if you'd be willing to work a shift or two a month and help Mad Paddle out, come down, talk to people, present the brand, that'd be great. So we have a team of about 20 people that are called beer ambassadors. They all work anywhere from 2 to 4 shifts a month. One of those ambassadors comes from as far as Seymour. Chad drives from Seymour once a week. The highlight of his week is to come to Mad Paddle and hang out for 4 or 5 hours and serve beer at Mad Paddle. So the highlight is the support of our beer ambassadors that joined our team, and then all the people we meet. We have over 4,400 Facebook followers, so for a business that just opened in December, that's pretty incredible. We have people driving down from Michigan, coming from Nashville, Tennessee, coming from all over to see Mad Paddle. So that's what's really cool, is seeing the vibe that we've built. The one thing we could use more of is more local support. So when I talk about these people that are driving from states away, I've got people that live a block or 5 blocks away that still haven't been to Mad Paddle yet. So this is a cry out to the citizens of Madison, is if you want businesses to succeed in Madison, you got to come out and see us.
Absolutely. That shop local, it's not just a phrase. That it is really important if you want to see businesses continue to thrive.
Not only shop local, but drink local fresh beer. This is beer brewed right there at Mad Paddle. It's as fresh as you can get. People have been wanting a fresh beer brewery for a long time. Come on down. It doesn't get any fresher than that beer at Mad Paddle.
So tell us a little bit more about that, about your brewing process, where you brew. I know you said you talked a little bit about your collaboration with Hanover, but tell us a little bit more about the brewing process and your signature beers.
Yeah, the brewing process, I'm not a brewer. I was a Coors Light drinker. My brother is a Bud Light drinker. So when we started this business and this real estate development project, that first beer had to be one that I would actually drink. And so, for example, we were at a Purdue game 2 years ago. We went into a microbrewery and we said, hey, what do you got for a guy that, is used to drinking a Bud or a Miller or a Coors beer? And most microbreweries don't have anything. They'll try this Kolsch or do this or do that. So we were bound and determined that when we launched Mad Paddle, it was going to be very consumer friendly. What I mean by that is that there has to be something on the menu for everybody. So we have a lot of females that come in that say, hey, I don't like craft beer. What do you have? So we have something called Zombie Killer Mead. We don't brew it. We bring that in. But boy, when women taste that mead, they fall in love with it. We brew a new beer about every 2 weeks. So we have something new all the time. All of our beers thus far have been named with a Madison connection. So number 1 beer, Wicket Blonde, was named after the Wicket Dams on the Ohio River. Beer number 2, Three Turns IPA, was named after the 3 turns in the Ohio River that you can see from the peak at Hanover. Our 2 most recent beers, 3 of our most recent beers, Incline Cut. Incline Cut is for the incline hill of the terrain. So that was the Incline Cut English IPA. This last weekend we put on the Reuben Wells Oatmeal Stout. Reuben Wells is the engine on that train that was from Madison that went up that incline that now sits at the Children's Museum in Indianapolis, Indiana. Some came running the movie. We've had 2 beers that are tribute beers to that movie. The first one was Some Came Hopping Hazy Kiwi IPA, which was a huge hit. This most recent weekend, we rolled out Some Came Apricot, with a tribute out to Sammy Davis Jr. So all of our beers have a connection to Madison in their name, spirit, and there's an app called Untapped where people rate beers. The average rating on a brewery across the board is around 3.7. Breweries like Sun King and Rheingeist have ratings of like 3.8, 3.7. Guess what our rating is on Mad Paddle Brewery right now? 4.10. So here in Madison, Indiana, you have one of the highest rated breweries in the state of Indiana. You got to get out there and drink the beer. Taste it. Come on down.
It's in your backyard.
It's right here.
Not far at all. So, wow. And good beer. also sounds like you're having a lot of fun with the process and the naming and all of that. So.
We're having a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. One of the things we could use right now, in addition to more guests coming in locally, is we're always hiring. We're going to be expanding. The building is going to grow. That means we need to add more beer ambassadors. So if you have a full-time job, but you're looking for something fun to do with 5, 10, 20 hours a week, this is a great place for you to come on down to Mad Paddle and contact us.
What have you learned about the craft beer community since you've been? Because you said this is a new venture for you, something you weren't a part of before. What have you kind of learned about that community?
The craft beer community really like to help each other out. So, for example, we launched Mad Paddle actually last June at River Roots with Wicked Blonde, but I didn't have a brewery yet. So we launched our brand because my friends at New Albanian Brewing Company in New Albany, Josh and Kate and Amy, who love Madison, Indiana, they said, hey, Jerry, you can brew on our equipment. So think about that. The craft brewing community, we didn't have a brewery yet. And they said, hey, you go ahead and brew your recipes on our system until you guys get up and running. So our first 2 beers, Wicked Blonde and 3 Turns IPA, have been brewed at New Albanian Brewing Company up until when we opened in December. And then we've been brewing all of our other beers here locally ever since. So if that doesn't tell you that the craft brewery community is pretty cool and friendly, I don't know what does.
Definitely worth checking it out. And what can folks expect when they come in? I know you said your goal is really to have something for everyone. We all like different things. And what else can they expect when they come in and walk into Mad Paddle?
Number one thing you'll see is a cool, hip vibe. You'll see this history of brewing going from 1823 up until today. There's a whole set of pictures that tell that story. You can also expect us to continue to grow. We've got our new patio that's open. So we have the largest outdoor seating patio in the city of Madison, either Upper Madison or Lower Madison. It's fantastic, but it's tucked around the corner. So not everybody knows it's there, but the patio is awesome. And then coming your way within about 2 to 4 weeks here is something called Wicked Fast Pizza. Wicked Fast Pizza. So there is nowhere in Madison right now that you can get pizza really fast. And the fastest growing part of the food industry right now is called fast casual. So we'll be able, from the time you come in and order your beer and order a pizza, we'll be able to have a pizza out to you in about 8 to 9 minutes. We invested in the Turbo Chef Fire Pizza Oven, which gets up to 850 degrees and it can cook a pizza in 90 seconds. So last night we rolled out on a test basis at Trivia Night, which was packed last night, pizza slices, and they were a big hit last night. And we had pepperoni cheese, and we also had a little chicken Alfredo pizza where Cookie Benzer on Facebook today, she said that was her favorite. So that's coming your way soon, is Wicked Fast Pizza.
So Trivia Night, this sounds fun. Is this a regular happening at the brewery?
It just started about 4 weeks ago, and it's growing. It's picking up steam. Last night we were packed. So Thursday nights is D&J Trivia, which is Derek Ball, which is he's an assistant football coach at Madison High School. This is something that he does on the side, D&J Trivia, and it's fantastic. He and his partner and Mad Paddle ambassador Steve Vest come into Mad Paddle on Thursday nights and do trivia. We've done it on the patio, we've done it inside, and it's picking up steam. It's a lot of fun.
Well, how fun. So great night to check you out Thursday nights, have a little fun.
With a chance to win prizes at the end, first, second, and third place. Gift certificates for first place, koozies for second, Mad Paddle cups for third, and with more to come.
Doesn't get any better than that. So what are some other fun things that are coming up and events? I know you talked about the May 4th event, and now we got Trivia Night. What are some other happenings?
Another thing that we're doing is we're available for event and party rentals. So this week on Tuesday night, Don Ward with the Roundabout, he celebrated the Roundabout's 20-year anniversary, and he had his own private event at Mad Paddle on Tuesday night. On Wednesday night, Hanover College had their alumni event. So if you're looking for a cool place to have an event, Mad Paddle is the place to do it, anywhere from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights.
All right, fantastic. So remind us, you have great social media pages, so remind us where you're at online and where you're located and your hours and how folks can get a hold of you.
Mad Paddle 301 West Street, Madison, Indiana. Facebook, it's just Mad Paddle. Look us up on Facebook. Online, it's madpaddle.com. And our days of operation and hours are Thursdays from 4:30 to 9:30, Fridays and Saturdays from 12:30 to 10:30, and Sundays from 12:30 to 6:30.
And if you don't remember all of those, go online and check that out. So, well, thank you again, Jerry, for your time. Really excited that you're here in town, and we wish you the best.
Thanks, Katie.